I think we're good to go, Pat.
Okay, we'll call our meeting to order. Just a couple of items on the agenda, and I'm trying to get to it. We have to have a resolution for an MOA with our high school principal.
We typically start out a meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance.
We do. So let's open it with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Thank you, Kevin. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm hearing something, but I can't make it out.
It's just Kevin doing the pledge.
Oh, it's delayed. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks, Amber. So again, we've got just a couple items on our agenda. The first would be to have a resolution for an MOA with our high school principal. May I have a motion to accept that MOA?
So moved.
Second.
Any more discussion? And my show of hands for all those who are in favor, please. Okay. Any against? I can't see everybody at once. Okay, motion passed. And the next would be personnel items. I'll turn it over to Mr. Brady for that.
So there are two items on your personnel action list. I am recommending those two items 1 and 2.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Oh, show of hands. Any opposed? Okay, motion. All right, motion passed. So we do have always have a section for board members for new items of discussion. So let's open it up if anyone has any discussion.
With the, what I'm wondering is, will the board, will accommodations, any
Thank you
accommodations?
for holding them up.
Pardon? Never mind, I'll email you. This Zoom stuff's terrible.
No, Kevin, you're coming in clear.
Yeah.
It's just somebody in the back that we don't hear clearly.
I think
you're
it's
clear.
Angela needs to mute.
Angie, you want to mute?
She's frozen now.
There she goes. Okay.
She's muted.
Kevin, you're clear. Your sound is clear. Your image is clear.
Okay. With COVID and accommodations and any requests for accommodations, will those be brought to the board? Are those something that's brought to the board's awareness because it's a change in working conditions? Much the same as sort of a change in the contract.
You're mute, Pat. Mr.
I muted myself there too. So there is going to be various levels of possible accommodations. It could be accommodation for wearing a extra PPE, face shield, or something like that versus someone who's going to be possibly having to work from home. So I'm not sure if you want all accommodation types of things to come before the board under the types of HR, or just those that are going to be need accommodations from home. The ones that are going to need accommodation from home would likely come up anyway, because we probably would be looking at some kind of possible substitute situation, but it's really up to the will of the board whether I bring all that forward.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm interested in hearing, I don't, if someone wants a different PPE, that's fine, but I think once we start changing locations or letting people work from home, I'd like to hear the details of that, even if it's executive session.
Well, it would have to be executive session, yes.
Yep.
I agree, Kevin. I think if it's just, face shield in lieu of a mask, then that's fine. I'm okay with not having to review all those, but otherwise, if we're moving people or they're working from home, yes, executive
Be
session.
clear here. What are you reviewing? You don't have a right to all the medical. If a person gives us medical information, we don't have a right to look at that, even in executive session.
No, you wouldn't. I wouldn't be able to tell you what the medical issue is. I would just be telling you what the accommodation is.
Right. So you'd be reviewing with Marshall whether the ADA accommodation is acceptable.
Correct. All these are going through the lens of what would be provided under the ADA.
Right. And if Marshall suggests we give somebody an accommodation under the ADA, I don't understand why that would come to us. Nor can we deny it. And if we do, we're looking at possible legal action. So to me, this makes no sense.
Just want to be sure we're not handing out yellow cupcakes.
Not even sure what that means, Kevin, but I have faith in Pat to be an administrator and control the building.
Maybe we could review in general, recommendations in general, but not go into specifics.
Yeah. That could work, the types of accommodations.
I mean, I agree with Lauren. I don't think we need to review every single person's accommodations. I think that's kind of administrators' jobs to do that.
I do think we need to know some level of information on just how things are going in the building, or in how education is being put forth in very general terms. But I don't think we need to know maybe on an individual level what's going on, but maybe the types of accommodations that are being made in list form, say.
Right.
And this is maybe after a month goes by, or it doesn't have to be as it happens kind of thing.
Well, I think that's fair to provide a general list of the types of accommodations that we are providing, but without going into the specifics. But I mean, right, I would never be able to come to the board and talk about individual medical situations, obviously.
And also, can we include compliance performance?
In terms of what, Robert?
Some people have resistance on, some people don't believe that there's COVID out there.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's an issue there, I would like to know, because we're putting our kids at risk.
Well, yeah, in general, I can talk to you about what we're dealing with after school starts.
Yeah, exactly. Our performance in general, if everybody's wearing masks and everybody's complying to our
Right.
policy and stuff like this.
Right.
Along the same lines, I'd like to talk about, I don't know if we've come to a final decision on the mask wearing of our students. I know we've had discussion about when they're in their classroom at their desk, they would be allowed to take their mask off. And when they're up and about and moving, they would have to, again, put their mask back on. But I'm not sure that's an easily administered for the staff and the teachers. I'm almost leaning toward masks 100% of the time, but I think it's a good discussion we should have. And
Well, we are, Pat, in fact, 2 changes we've made in our plan. And as I mentioned previously, this is kind of a living document because we are evolving.
Right.
We're having these parent meetings. We're having staff meetings. We had a couple yesterday. We have a couple more today. We're getting that input, and our thinking evolves. And one of the two areas that have changed in our plan are that we are going to have temperature screeners at the front doors of the schools. So there's going to be the pre-screening that occurs at home with the parents and our employees doing their own pre-screening, but they'll also be screened when they come in. The second one is that masks will be worn during the time of instruction as well, and we'll be providing mask breaks. So before we had talked about, because it was allowed under Department of Health guidelines, that once the children sit down and the teacher says, okay, instruction begins, you can take your mask off, but if you get up, you have to put it on. We're now saying that when they sit down, they still will have their mask on. But teachers are going to have to give some frequent breaks to, let them take their mask off for a moment. They are going to be social distant. They can't get up. But it might be if they're doing a bit of a quiet reading for a moment, they could have their mask off, and that would be a mask break. So we're working through that. But we are leaning towards what you're thinking. Not leaning towards it. That's what we are saying now is.
I think it was a tough putt for the teachers and staff to try to manage that other situation. I think this is just easier and likely to have more consistent compliance with our rules this way. So I'm glad that's the way we're leaning.
On the other hand, that decision has led to some parents to decide not to send their children to school because they don't want them to have masks on all day. So it's any decision you're going to make at this point, you're going to have those who support it and those who don't.
Understandable, for sure. Okay, any more comments? All right, I appreciate everybody getting on this morning. It was really important decisions we had to get taken care of. So thanks again for everybody for coming on. And with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn, please. Second? I think I got it, but people are muted. All right. All right.
Thank you.
Show of hands, we'll head out. Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you.